Yo, 2-5 is here. Like, review, subscribe. Sports Reports is ordered. Here to stay. You know, the punchlines that I put in the street even made Freeway say, put on a beat. So, I was reading something the other day, and, it tickled me a little bit. Now we all know LeBron James invokes a lot of emotion. There's a lot of people out here that you would think are his kinfolk, the way that they defend him, go to bat for him. They just talk about him all day long. Can't watch shows unless they're talking about him as the ratings show you guys want to hear about him. Then there's the other side where everybody shits on everything LeBron related. Like people are upset the other night because he made the speech at the ESPYs talking about how he wasn't going to retire. This is what he does. He's an attention whore. This is our society full of attention whores. But let's step back a little bit because I want to talk about something else. So, someone said on a message board that I was reading that LeBron James doesn't have an era. Excuse me? Excuse me? So, I know the Warriors went on this run. You've heard me talk about it. The empire has fallen. They made 6 NBA finals in 8 years. This was the first year that they lost in the playoffs as constructed to a Western Conference team. And it just so happened to be poetic because it was LeBron James. It just happened to be LeBron James that came back from the 3-1 deficit in one game 7 at the Oracle. So let's peel this back and think about this. So, who owned the previous era? Was that the Kobe Bryant era? Now let's think about this before you answer. So Kobe Bryant went 5-2 in the NBA Finals. A lot of people knock him because the first 3 came with Shaq as the leader of the team. BS, nobody wins a title by themselves, first of all. And yes, Kobe may have been the quote unquote sidekick, but he was by no means a bum that got carried to the title. But from that same era, drafted a year apart from Kobe Bryant, is one Tim Duncan, who went on to win 5 titles, 5-1 in the finals, and was a missed layup away, and a Ray Allen shot away, and a Kawhi Leonard free throw away from being 6-0 in the finals, which makes Jordan the GOAT. So Jordan is pretty indisputable, right? The Jordan era, 6 titles in that decade, 2 three-peats, cut off by a 2-year window where he decided to go play baseball. But when I look at the LeBron era, because I'm going to call it the LeBron era, he was obviously the best player of that era without question. Regardless of you making fun of his final record being 4-6, he still went to 8 straight finals. So who does that in this era? That hasn't been seen since Bill Russell back when the league was 8 teams and the Celtics just had him, Havlicek, Cousy, and the gang, so on and so forth. But with LeBron James, not only did he get to 8 straight finals, he did this with a lot of iterations of not necessarily the best teams. Jeff Green, Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson, Iman Shumpert, not necessarily in their primes. Like it's easy to focus on Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, who in one of those finals against Golden State were both injured. So he lost that finals. That doesn't mention that teams were put together with the intent of defeating LeBron James. Boston Celtics, the Boston Three Party, who celebrates their only championship as if it was 4. Golden State adding Kevin Durant because he came back from that 3-1 and they said, oh shit, the jig is up. So what defines an era? Is it the titles won? Or is it being the best player of a generation or of a timeline? I want to leave that up to you. Give me some answers in the comments. But as I look at this, back in the 80s, right? Magic Johnson won 5 titles, Bird won 3. But even then, people don't necessarily call it the Magic Johnson era. They call it the Bird Magic era. So where's that line? Because you could say what you want about the Lakers-Celtics rivalry. The Lakers won that rivalry in the 80s. Up until Magic got there, the Celtics owned the Lakers. They were beating them like they were bad stepchildren. Probably shouldn't have said that, but you get the point. But as we come through this, is this just another way for people to not give LeBron his credit? Because who would you even say is the next best player of this era? Is it Steph? Is it KD? And if so, look at the gap between them and then the gap between Kobe and Duncan, whichever direction you want to look at. Look at the gap between Magic and Bird, however you want to look at it. And that's how we get here, because Bird won 3 MVPs in a row, which screwed Joker over this year, but he won 3 MVPs in a row during that same era. He won 3 titles. Magic just won 5. Tim Duncan and Kobe, same amount of titles. Tim Duncan did it with, I would say, less help to some degree, and then you got LeBron, who made the finals with Boobie Gibson and Delonte West and Sasha Pavlovich and, Zadrunas Ilgauskas, after his feet started hurting. So at the end of the day, 2-5 says this is the LeBron era. Let me know what you think. Peace.